So the consciousness, as we see it, is changing. We're into high performance consciousness. So it's not a theory. It's actual reality, and we really brought that in where I help people say transfer into that higher consciousness. Again, it's not a feel good state. It's not a mental state. It's literally say a reprogramming of um, not just humanity. It wasn't humanity anymore. It was the consciousness of this universe. Especially with the, if you want to call them higher beings or aliens, those individuals showing up and those individuals agreeing, my counsel coming in and going, it's time. So it's like pulling the plug on the old consciousness. That makes sense to you. The old consciousness doesn't get, say, any more funding or resources or any energy. It has to, say, survive on its own or die off on its own. Anybody who was, say, at that elevated space, whether they do XI or not, that elevated space, they went into that new consciousness as well. So, and to prove that, you'll see like people, like say, getting attracted to you, or strangers getting attracted to you and reconnecting, because it's like will attract like, so to speak, which is different right there, because in the past like opposites attracted, but now it's like attracts like, to say further perpetuate that awakening. So that's at the physical level, but then when you have high level beings, right, or awakened beings going, hey, I want to get into that as well. One, that's an honor for me to have like these high level, say top, say consciousness or very intelligent people going, shit, yeah, I want to be part of that too. So they know what's going on. They see, say, the potential in it, so they're investing in it too. So that takes a lot of, say, consciousness, to say come into that high performance consciousness. And then I would say the billions of, say, people that are in my group that, say, have been waiting for this awareness to come into play, or to start, say, reacting to it or initiating it. So that's what's happened. It's on all levels, and again, it's not just conscious, the human scale. It's like on all levels. So how much is it? How much of it is a choice? So the choice that I say is not a conscious choice. It's like where you are at a spiritual level, if that makes sense to you. So what that means is, say you're transitioning, right? And you're transitioning from, say, one level to the other level. That's what we're doing. But if you're at a level, say, and I'm just throwing numbers out, but 7 and above, then you'll transition into that higher consciousness. If you're at a level of 7 and, or like 6.9 and below, then you don't transition into that higher consciousness. It's just that clear cut, and it's not based on Bill Gates model or the blue blood model where the elites and so on. It's not that type of frequencies or grading scale. It's on human, say, purity. So 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 when that happens, you um so it's not a choice. It's where you are on that grading level, so to speak. And we've had, I don't know, 2020 years to figure it all out, right? So we've had plenty of time to awaken, and there's no excuses. It is just like the end of times as we see it, and it's just like, hey, it's end of time. It's like this opportunity or awareness is over. Let's see how you did. But it's not a judgment day. Okay. Yeah, it's not a judgment day for you. So, because it sounds like judgment day, but again, I stress that it's not judgment day. Um, so when I say, you have that choice, or what happens is that as this, say, awareness, as you awaken into the new, say, consciousness, what's not true in you has to burn off. whether you made it or not, it doesn't matter anymore. It burns off for you. So whether you want to or not, it doesn't matter anymore. That choice was, again, ended. So say that you have, you're 100%, you'd be 100% pure, but then say, through XI, you were, say, 70%, say, polluted or distorted, or you had, say, lies running in you. And lies is an accurate definition, because anything that, say, doesn't make you complete or understand your grander scale is a lie to that reality, to your consciousness. So that would be an accurate definition. So now you've come down to, say, a 30%, say, level, right? So as this consciousness awakens, well, you're at a level where you're strong enough, because most of what makes you is truth. So as you go off the 30%, it's easier to burn off. And that's where many of you, again, you've done a fantastic job, where, you get higher, you get motivated more, you get cleaner, you get brighter. That makes sense to you all, right? That's what's happening. So it's a natural progression, because you've created that momentum. But say that you're below, say, that 7 number. So you're, say, 70, 80% distorted. You still run abuse patterns. Well, you still awaken. I mean, you still awaken. And that's the beauty of this. You still awaken, but if you're 70%, and say you go through a machine and it, say, burns off, you burn off all the lies that are in you, right? It cannot exist. Those lies have to die, because the consciousness, it won't, say, support the frequencies of what you're running. So say you're 70% made up of lies, distortions, abuse patterns, whether it's your fault or not, whether what happened to you or not, it doesn't matter. It's just what you're running. Okay. So it's like, well, it's not my fault. I was a victim. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just where you are at that point. So you burn off, but if you're 70%, that means most of you has to die off. Most of your identity has to die off. And through XI, we've seen people who, say, detox so fast that they literally, they forget how to walk, they forget how to talk, they go into, say, comas for a couple months, they come back and they're, say, reset. But a lot of people, if you've got that much extreme, say, distortions in you, and you're forced to burn it off, well, there's not much of you that can exist in this reality. Does that make sense to you, how that works? So that's what's happening. So, say, people who are in, Satanism or the Cabal and all that stuff, those are all lies, distorted features like that, or even victimhood. Those are all lies. So imagine all those people. Those people, like, they're 90%, 100, some of them 100%, because they've foregone their spirit for attaining material wealth. So what happens to them? And you'll see it, just mark my words, another prediction. You're going to see a lot of, say, entertainers, high-level individuals, either, say, kill themselves off, strange suicides will happen, there'll be more mental instability than ever before at those, say, high-level ranks. Mental instability, delusion, godlike, say, stature, all those things will start to show up as they literally start to burn away. They cannot exist in this reality anymore. So they have to, well, literally just evaporate. So the good thing about that, okay, is that, because it sounds pretty like the end of times, and it is. But the good thing about that is that they awaken. It's not a perpetual, like, cycle, like in the past. Their family was dark. Their, the sins of the father. Their grandparents were dark. Their father was dark. Now they're dark. Their children is dark. It doesn't work like that anymore. They awaken back into their natural state of being. So, say the next time around, right? They're of a bright source, but they just can't be around here this time. Does that make sense to you? So that's the benefit of everybody, say, gets enlightened. It just depends on are you in this reality or another, say, reality or a death space? So, some souls, however, they've so far gone that they'll vanish. They'll become like a black hole, so to speak. So, so Bill Gates, they're part of the say the blue blood lineage. So basically, the blue blood is a long, long time ago. See these successful or intelligent people, so-called elites, and I hate to use that word because they're not elite. They're more like cockroaches. But anyway, the so-called elites, they decided because they're on the upper end of society according to, say, their knowledge or wealth or or knowing or bloodline. They decided that other individuals of lower ranks, say, weren't worth being here. So the idea, the concept of, say, depopulation isn't a Bill Gates thing. That started way, like, long time ago. Who's the father of the origin of species, or who is that guy? Yeah, Darwin. So even like he wasn't the one who started it, but him and his friend or somebody like that, from what I'm seeing, like, say, perpetuated that concept. So again, it's not a new concept of, say, depopulation, right? And in fact, like in the 50s, I think, or 60s, and again, somewhere I can't quite tell. So they started like in the Ivy League schools and in colleges and so on, of perpetuating that everybody isn't created equal, and that's true, but it's like the elite have, say, more rights, and it's perpetuated into this idea that you kill off, say, the masses to perpetuate, say, the elite. So that's the patterning that they think. But the original blue blood, and the why they call it the blue blood, is in, say, in spirit form, or programming form. Blue blood would really, say, relate to or parallel to, say, the brilliance of blue that's around you as your spirit. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with how, say, successful you are physically. So that's another misnomer in, say, society here today, right? There's a lot of misnomers, and so the blue blood, the original blue blood line, if you would say, would be, say, a Jesus type frequency. Okay, that purity, not, well, fuck, I'm wealthy or I'm highly intelligent, because those individuals who are of that, say, league, they usually, say, sold themselves to something to, say, create, say, some sort of dominance, whether it's like money or intelligence or power or fame or something to that effect. So it's not even their blood that they're passing on. So that's the key. So in this case, blue blood actually means that you're perpetuating whatever owns you. That makes sense to you. So although they think that, like, say, Bill Gates, right? He's a godlike feature to himself, or people like that. There's a ton of people. There's a lot of, say, entertainers. That they look down upon. The people that, say, adore them, right? And they think that they're just, well, meaningless. But in fact, if it wasn't for those individuals, they could not survive, because they need to, say, suck the life out of them. So again, is that the bloodline that you want to perpetuate? But there's a ton of people like that. Look at all the royal families. Right? They're all fucked up. They're all fucked up. So why would you want that, right? So all that stuff has to go. And I just heard from a good friend of mine that they had over 150,000 indictments of people of the cabal. So that's a lot of people, say, coming up to the forefront, right? On, say, control, pulling money from, good causes, all that. So all that's showing up. So I said that it's not Judgment Day. That makes sense to you, right? Although it sounded like Judgment Day, right? It's not Judgment Day. because this isn't about judgment, and just talking from say a higher level order for you, you know. So let me just help you say pull my counsel in for you. How's that sound? So we'll pull the council in, and then the 13 members. Um, so let's just take a deep breath in. And say if you feel, say, heaviness around you. The heaviness, the council is not the heaviness. The council is so brilliant, it'll show you how heavy you actually are too. Again, as this consciousness, say, awakens, and it becomes more enlightened, again, lighter, the burdens that you hold on to will feel heavier to you. They'll magnify exponentially to the point that you have to let go of those burdens. So we say that judgment, there is no judgment. There is no judgment day. We do not judge you in any way, because that would not be of a free will society, right? We cannot go against the laws and standards that say we created, not a Godhead, but we created, and maybe with a Godhead or pure source, but again, that was free as well. We could have created anything in this, say, reality. So that's where that free will comes from, whether it's a society, a group, or down to an individual. And we stress that there is no judgment upon you. The judgment has been upon you. So note the difference there. The judgment, there is no judgment upon you, but the judgment is upon you. So you have judged yourself, because we have given you the chance to, say, create from your idealized self something or someone that you could have been, you could be. You had that authority, you had that access at all levels, at every single minute, every instance that you've been here. You could have had that opportunity to realize the grander version of you, of who you are. Every step that you could have taken to realize or ascend to a higher level, you could have taken. But what did you choose? So we ask you again, what did you choose? Why did you choose what you did? If you've been abused, if you've been raped, if you've been, say, blessed, those were the choices that you created. Nobody else outside of you, whether it's your parental lineage or anything like that. Again, every single, say, second of every day, you could have chosen, you could have awoken second by second, helping you realize the grandness of you are, thus no judgment. But so all this time, you, your lineage, humanity, has judged itself. Hence the position that you're in, way off kilter. So we are not here to judge you or, say, end or punish you, but basically in a loving sense, in a very loving sense, just like, say, a parent that comes through and it's like you're getting too close to danger, you're getting too close to a highway or something that could kill you, because societies before you have killed themselves. In this scenario, we have chosen to step in. So would that be against free will? We say it's not because you have, say, created, say, immense talent, immense opportunities. So instead of starting, say, from fresh, instead of, say, creating, say, a suicide of all civilizations that have happened before you, whether it is this of this reality or another consciousness or what you might say deem aliens foreign to you, they have all at some point ended their civilizations. There has never been a civilization that has survived itself. Although, which is somewhat puzzling to us, because every civilization comes from, say, a timeless state, a timeless being, an endless being, an endless consciousness. So we ask, what happens to those, or why does it have to end? Why does it have to end in suicide, or say an ending of that civilization? Sometimes it is of growth, right? Like the natural cycle, but that natural cycle, does it have to end completely in, say, nature or the universal plan? It never ends completely, but somehow you've chosen to, again, commit suicide over and over again. So like that loving parent, like we say, it is not here to judge you in any way. It is pulling you back from, say, the brink of you committing suicide to your own beings, your own, say, consciousness. That would be a shame. That would be, say, a grand waste, because all the technology, all the awarenesses would have to start over again. So that does not have to happen this time. So we're here actually to, say, bring you back into alignment with what your real self is about.